Defensively, what did you feel in the opening minutes of this game, in the first quarter, to hold them to 8, and then late to just continue to stack up the stops that you needed?
Energy was very good from the start. That's it on that part. I think when you hold the team to 8, a lot of that is just energy, attention to detail, holding them to one shot. Like, we just did a lot of the core fundamental stuff that comes with defense, and then just being able to play through their runs. We've kind of, I don't want to say collapsed, but they've made a lot of those deep runs with like 3-4 minutes left, and I thought we did a good job of like learning the lessons that we could from what happened in previous games and got better as the series has gotten on, and we did a good job of kind of clamping down on, again, just like the core stuff that we've been doing all year.
And you were able to kind of punch that gap on the left side to get that driving layup. That's been hard to come by all series against that zone. What's key to being able to kind of generate those types of attacks the way that you did late?
Having a good process throughout the whole entire game, not giving them like a steady diet of the same thing over and over again. And I think, too, just being ready to make a play. We had a lot of guys that were able to do that tonight, but specifically just punching that gap, just seeing what the defense gives me and going from there.
4 games later, you guys are a better team, a stronger team internally than you were when the series started because of experiences like this. Like, have you sensed that internally, and did you see that sort of manifest itself late game?
For sure. Yeah. It's hard to lose the first game at home and turn the table and obviously come back and win that one and then give up another one here. And then especially like the way we've lost too, like I think we've done a good job of just learning from it and getting better. But yeah, we're a totally different team. And that's going to go beyond this series, even to like next year. Like, we're going to be better because of a lot of the experiences that we've been in.
Like, I know they've thrown a lot at Shai in this series. Just, he's tried to get that step back 3 to go, dating back to last game. He didn't get it today, but it felt like he played a big role in closing. Like, how have you seen him sort of take the punches and adjust, and what did you see from him late today?
Yeah, I think that goes back to what Mark was saying, just about how we're a better team, like even individually. Like, some of those shots weren't falling, and it doesn't ever falter his attack or his approach. Like, you never see him hesitate to shoot the next one, and that's why he's such a good player, and we still trust him to take those shots down the stretch, and he made a bunch of them. And, ultimately that's one of the big reasons why we won the game, and one of the big reasons he's who he is.
Jalen, after losing game 3, you were asked about late game usage, getting touches, and you immediately responded by saying, not only do you get enough touches, but there's other guys that can step up. Those other guys stepped up big time in this fourth quarter, right, after this game. Guys like Caruso, guys like Wiggins. How significant is that? And do you think that that's an advantage that you guys have, a legitimate advantage you guys have in this series against the Nuggets?
Yeah. We just have guys that are ready to go. I've been saying that all year, so I'm not really finna deviate from it. We have a lot of guys that can play and do a lot of things on the floor, and it doesn't have to be scoring. And that's what makes our team special. Being able to play multiple guys in a series, and then for them to have the same mentality to be ready and make plays is really good. Can you guys hear me, or is that loud? Okay. But yeah, we just have guys that are ready to step up, and I think that's just an advantage, not even this series, but it's just an advantage in general to know that, you can go down your roster and somebody's going to be ready to make a play and just go out and buy into what the team's trying to do.
Shai earlier was in here, and he described AC as a riser. And I don't know if he meant that just in the sense of the playoffs, but how has he sort of helped you guys in just filling in the gaps as a team that doesn't have a ton of experience, but he is a guy who's done the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I mean, he's literally, like you said it last, like he's literally won a championship, so he knows what it takes, what goes into it. I think he won the bubble one, right? Yeah, like that. I feel like that's one of the harder championships to win just because there really wasn't a lot going on. So he's seen a lot, and for him to win in that environment, he kind of knows what it takes, and he's kind of like our vocal leader, and he goes out there and makes plays consistently throughout each series we've been in. So definitely lucky to have him. He's been doing a great job for us too.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir.
The rebounding and the paint, you guys win those battles. Tell me about the impact that's playing right now in the series and how it helped out tonight.
It's huge. I mean, you want to win those little battles, and I think especially in the playoff series, rebounding, not turning the ball over, controlling the paint is big. And so I think every night we try to establish that. And it's a team effort. I mean, yeah, we have Jokic crashing a lot, so I kind of have to box him out a lot. But again, it's still boxing out Gordon, Westbrook, and all those guys that consistently crashing. I think just as a team, we've been doing a really good job of just consistently getting bodies on guys and going to get the ball.
And then on the other end, they've been trying to keep that zone so compact and not get it extended. And you specifically, I think, were able to help spring Shai and Dub on downhill drives. What was key there in terms of spacing execution late?
Again, I think like everything on our team, it's about team basketball. So I think it's not just letting Shai just go one-on-one against everybody. So it's, hey, how can we move? How can we get him easier looks? But then how also Shai's unselfish, Dub's unselfish. And so I think they do also a great job of how can they get us easy looks. So I think in general, it's a mixture between both. Again, getting Shai open, getting Dub open, but I think they do a great job of also finding us at the same time.
Isaiah, you've been a part of some playoff battles up close, and you've seen kind of the swings of playoff series in general. What was kind of your role as a leader once this team went down 2-1, kind of heading into this big game?
Again, just not overreacting. I think, especially in this playoff series, it's so emotional. And so I think you just have to be consistent, know what the reality is. And the reality was, we let those 2 games slip. We can't change that at this moment. The only thing we can change is what we do in the present moment. So I think that's just kind of my role, is just get everyone refocused, get everyone emotionally ready for what we have to do. And that's the biggest thing with the playoffs, is the swings go up and down. And yeah.
Isaiah, I guess a two-parter for you. I'm going to ask first one first. Joker just appeared to be fatigued at the end. I mean, it's a lot of minutes, a lot of big series. But what are you guys doing well, just teamwork, to kind of force him into a bad shooting night again?
It's a team effort. I think we do a great job of. It's mostly my job to defend him one-on-one. But again, I don't think my teammates are leaving me on the island. I think that's what makes us so good. I mean, again, he's gonna make tough shots, and you just kind of have to mentally live with that. But I think in general, we're doing a great job of swarming, rotating the right way, and executing the game plan. And that's what you're gonna need against a great player like that.
And the second one is, I know it's a small sample size, but when you were here and you saw him in practice and you got to go against him, how much does that help you for now?
I mean, I was there for like 2 days, low-key, so no, but in general, he helped me a lot. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him, a lot of respect how he approaches each day. I think passing-wise, he helped me take another step. I think before I was a good passer, but he took me really to now, I think I'm one of the best big passers in the league, and he took me to that another level, just with the details of how to get guys open with your eyes, knowing when someone's open when he maybe doesn't seem open, if that kind of makes sense. So he helped me a lot in that aspect, and he was always very open to any question I had, and so I have a lot of respect for him for doing that.
Somewhat related to that, I know the series isn't over, but you had that experience with him. You've obviously played against him a lot.
Yeah.
Which is the bigger challenge between sort of the mental game with his basketball IQ and skills versus just the physical game?
It's a mixture. I think more mental. I think any playoff series, just the mental aspect of it, hey, I'm going to be disciplined every time we have a game plan. I'm going to stick to it. And then especially with a guy like him, I mean, he'll make a step back, fadeaway shot where you're like, how did that go in? But you have to mentally just be okay with this, and knowing that this is the shot I kind of want him to take, and he's going to make tough shots, exactly kind of how Shai, I mean, I've been watching all year, Shai makes tough shots where probably the defenders are like mentally kind of down on it. So I think just mentally staying in it, mentally knowing what you want to get him to, and then kind of sticking to that game plan.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Just right.
Hey, Chet. First of all, how are you feeling after taking that huge blow? And second of all, just the way that fourth quarter played out in the sense of you guys closing out on a win like this, especially on the road. How significant is that in the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm good. I caught one, and it stung pretty bad, but like it didn't like rattle my head too much, so I'm good. And then it's big. That's a must-win game right there. Wasn't pretty on either side, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out how to come away with the win. We didn't do that 2 times already in this series, so it's good to be able to do that tonight. And now, focus moves on towards the next game. We got to, continue to be better throughout the series, put ourselves in a better spot to win each of these games.
Is there a relief at all to avoid going home in a 3-1 hole?
There's no relief at all. It's, still a really competitive series with a good team on the other side. There's no relaxing until, there's just no relaxing.
Confidence, the way you guys finished in the fourth quarter?
I say yes. We executed well. Plays went our way as well, but we can't count on plays going our way. We have to continue to execute well down the stretch and do everything we can to put ourselves in the position that we need to be in to win the game. That's what we did tonight, and we're gonna have to continue doing that going forward.
Last one for me. The bench today was incredible, knocked down 8 threes.
Man, I can't speak enough about those dudes. They stay ready on a moment's notice for whatever's asked of them, and it showed tonight. They came out and made big shots for us all night long, especially Wiggs in that fourth to get things started. And, without them, we don't win that game. So, a lot of credit has to go to them.
Chet, you mentioned the execution late. What'd you feel out there in terms of the spacing and you guys' ability to maybe spread their defense a little bit more? You got Dub and Shai on downhill attacks.
Yeah, I felt like we knew where we needed to be. We knew what we were trying to do, and then from there it was just kind of reading how the defense reacted and making plays. And I feel like everybody who touched the ball in those situations made the right reads, made the right plays, and we were able to make enough plays to come away with the win.
Yeah, Chet, after game one, you mentioned how Kenrich brought you over to watch basketball, kind of get your mind off of things, and a couple other guys mentioned how he stepped up as a voice in the locker room. He said, and his message for game four was just, you can't lose it. How valuable has it been to have a guy like that hasn't really played in the series staying engaged as a leader?
It's extremely important. We can't just give credit to him. All the guys are locked in. They're all, playing their part, doing whatever they can to help push this team forward. And, the huge credit goes to K. He's just super steady mind, and that kind of flows on to everybody around him. Just the way he speaks, the advice that he gives us, it's extremely helpful. And we don't have a locker room where guys are afraid to say what needs to be said. And, he's one of the first to be speaking when something needs to be said and we need to figure something out. And we always trust that the intentions are right behind that, no matter who it is. And, we're going to need that from everybody going forward, and especially K.
Chet, last season you guys were in a somewhat similar situation where 2-1, you're facing going down 3-1 on the road, big gutsy win on the road, you come back home. How does that experience sort of help you handle and approach this one?
We always learn from our experiences, good or bad, and I don't think last year was anything different. We just have to understand that this year it's a different team that we're playing. They're going to throw different looks at us. We're going to see different things, but the goal doesn't change. We have to do what we have to do to control the things we can control on our end to put ourselves in the best spot to win the game. And, saying game 4 is a must win, every game's a must win. So we gotta figure out how to get it done.
Thank you, Jack.
throughout the tone you set and the way you closed it. What did you like best about the overall performance and the way to gut out a win?
Yeah, I think we fought. We stayed the course. Like the game, sorry. The game, especially in the series, has been so like random almost. And it's thrown like different things at us. And I think we've been able to stay the course. We did that to perfection tonight, and it gave us a chance late. And then we closed the game.
You and Dub were able to get downhill and kind of maybe extend the defense a little bit more. What did you think about the ways that you guys were able to maybe stretch some things out and get some downhill attacks?
Yeah, we were decisive. We just tried to be aggressive. Nothing more than that.
Shai, kind of building off that, they obviously made it tough for you to get into the paint for the vast majority of the game. You know, a lot of that's the zones that they're throwing at you. What are they doing defensively that's making life difficult for you? And then, you know, what kind of opened up for you down the stretch?
Yeah, they're doing a good job of throwing multiple bodies. They're, like you said, playing a lot of zone, which doesn't really leave anybody on the island, and it's like a box behind the guy guarding me. But yeah, I think we attacked it pretty good tonight. We got good looks in the zone. That little spurt when they went on a run and they were in the zone, we got pretty good looks and weren't making them, and then they started to fall, and we were able to get back in the game. But yeah, those type of defenses just force you to pass, and I just have to be willing to make the right play every time and live with the result.
On the other side, Joker's had 3 really rough shooting nights, especially for him. What are you seeing that you guys are doing defensively to affect him?
I'm not sure, but we have to keep doing it if we want to win.
Hey, Shai, at crunch time, you guys really, buckled down and got it done today. What did you like in your crunch time approach down the stretch?
Say again, sorry?
I'm sorry. In crunch time in this game, you guys really buckled down and took care of business. What did you like in your crunch time, I guess, approach?
Yeah, we got stops. We rebounded, and then we got quality possessions offensively. That's what it usually comes down to, just quality possessions on both ends of the floor. And I think offensively we got that tonight.
Shai, knowing the ramifications of what a loss would have meant, what was your mentality coming into this game, walking into the arena, and are you the type that just puts a lot of pressure on yourself to make it happen?
Yeah, my mentality was do whatever it takes to win. And yeah, I do put a lot of pressure on myself. I have very high expectations for myself. I always have. I always dream big and reach for the stars, and I try to accomplish my goals.
At the end of the game, you almost kind of like a closer in baseball. I kind of felt like you closed the game. Did you feel like, especially with such a tough offensive night for everybody on both sides, that whether it's you making a shot or you getting into the right teammate, that you had to close the game?
Yeah, I always feel like I have to. I always feel like those are the moments where the guy on the team earns his buck. You earn your money. You close games, you win games, and that's what everything's about, winning games. And the later you go in the season, the better the teams, the closer the games, and you need to rise to the occasion.
Mark was just saying that, 4 games ago, or 4 games later, I should say, that you guys are a stronger team now because of these experiences, because of sort of the way you close a game like today, and that sort of shows internally. Just how have you seen that sort of manifest?
Yeah, I think I said it to Gallo. The series has thrown so many random things at us, things that like are unexpected, are like out of the norm, and I think we've done a really good job of just like accepting where we are and not fraying from who we are and who we've been all season. And I think that's why we got a W tonight and are able to even the series. We've done a really good job of just like not wavering from our identity.
And as far as you, going back to you being a closer, clearly you've tried to get that step back 3 to go for the past 2 games now. How sort of gratifying is it, even though that shot hasn't really gone down, how gratifying is it for you to sort of close a game like today, knowing all that Denver's thrown at you?
Yeah, it felt good. It always feels good to win. Sucks to lose. And like I said last game, I'm always willing to take the good and the bad. And last game I took the bad, and tonight I'll take the good.
Shai, after that tough third quarter, and you guys bounced back in a big way in that final frame, how significant was those guys stepping up in the sense of Casey Wallace and Aaron Wiggins and Caruso and all that? And is that something that happened organically? Did you guys say something in the timeout? How did that all play out?
Yeah, that's who we've been all year. We've been a deep team. We have guys that have come in, stepped up all year. We've had injuries. Guys have stepped the role. Guys have lessened their role and jumped back in the rotation and had big minutes. Like, we've been a team that has just done whatever it takes to win across the board. And that group to start the fourth did a really good job of getting us back in the game. And definitely the reason why we won.
Shai, a big topic of discussion for this team the last couple of years has been the youth and lack of experience. Just wanted to ask, with a guy like Caruso through these 4 games and the series before, how has he sort of filled in the gaps for you guys with sort of just elevating and going to the next level learning?
Yeah, he's a riser. He rises to the occasion. It's clear as day how special he's been to us. His like ability to just impact the game, impact winning, and whatever it calls for. He, whether it's making shots, whether it's getting deflections, whether it's getting steals, getting stops, picking up full court, rebounding, cracking back, like he does whatever it takes, and he does that at a high level. And he's the only player on this team that's won a championship, and it's no coincidence. He does what it takes to win basketball games on the highest of stage, and he's done so far.
Your mother was a great athlete in her own right. Dealt with high pressure situations. Do you get any counsel? I assume you talked to her before the game and said, Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Did you receive any counsel from her? Did she give you any words of wisdom that carried with you today?
My parents, they don't like hype me up or turn me up for basketball games. But one thing like she always taught me was like, no matter what happens, she's gonna love me. And I guess that gives me the ability to go out there and not really care what happens. The people that matter most in my life are gonna treat me the same way no matter what happens out there. And that gives me the ability to just trust my work, trust whatever happens, and be able to put a smile on my face at the end of the night no matter what.
What's your mentality going forward now with the split?
The series is 0-0 in its first of 2 games.
Thank you, Shai.
Mark, on the left. Denver obviously has an 8-point first quarter. They still managed to get a lead in the second half. But you outscored them by 4 down the stretch and by 11, I think, in the fourth. Just what do you make of the way you pulled this one out and your method of doing so?
Yeah, great first quarter defense. Both teams, I mean, obviously the shooting was cold for both teams, but I thought we were really on it. It kind of lost our way defensively, especially in the third, but did a great job of course correcting to start the fourth. That group to start the fourth was huge to give us a lead, and then the defense down the stretch was really, really good. They shot half their points were free throws in the first half, so the field goal defense was really, really good. And like I said, we lost our way a little bit in the third quarter, and then we got it back. We really, really stacked stops, made them earn everything, especially down the stretch. Really, really good job on that end.
Group to start the fourth, specifically Caruso, Casey, and Wiggins. What'd you see from them down the stretch?
I mean, they were huge. They made huge shots, and they gave us huge defense and toughness plays in that stretch of the game. Big time. And we played a lot of minutes the other night. Our top guys played a lot of minutes the other night in the overtime game. Quick turnaround with an early game today. We made a very intentional effort to use our depth today and get everybody going. And I just thought, their minutes, Kaysen, AC, Wiggins obviously was huge. Jay Will gave us really good minutes on Jokic, so we could keep fresh guys on him. And even Joe, he didn't shoot it great, but I thought, he played a good floor game and did his job, did what he needed to do. So I just was so impressed with those guys, and we really leaned into them today, and they really delivered for us.
Hey, Coach, I think there was a early in the fourth quarter. I think you were down 7, and Aaron and Kaysen hit back-to-back three-pointers. How vital was that sequence? How important was that sequence when I think you went out 1 at that point.
Yeah, like I said, those guys were huge today. Great, readiness by them. They didn't play as many minutes the other night, so they had fresh legs and brought great energy to the game. And Denver played a lot of zone today, and I thought our attacks were pretty good. We got some pretty good shots, especially threes, and didn't really crack through. But in that stretch, we really moved the ball, found the right shots, and those guys stepped up and made big shots.
Mark, you got a couple things going to the rim, Shai and Dub late. And it seemed like you guys got that action maybe up a little bit higher on the floor. How did that impact some of those downhill drives you were able to get, which were obviously hard to come by?
Yeah, yesterday we were talking about the execution of the down the stretch stuff, and I thought that showed up. I thought we weren't doing anything crazy. We just did it a little bit better. The execution, the things we could control, were just a little bit sharper. I said they were probably a 6 or 7 out of 10 in game 3. They were like a 8 or 9 today, and those are the margins you have to win in a close playoff game that is as hard fought as that one was.
Coach, in particular, piggyback on that, just talk about Shai, like the last 7 minutes, he more or less was involved with anything scoring-wise that you did and sealed the game, and even his assists were huge assists.
Yeah, he's just I always marvel at his ability to get himself back to 0 after every single game. Usually he's getting himself back to 0 off of a great game, and that's his secret sauce is he stays so level and humble despite his success. But when he does fail, he doesn't point fingers. He doesn't pout. He's not emotional. He's not angry. He's just so level that he just gets himself back ready to play. And the last guy you're worried about bouncing back from a tough shooting night like he had the other night is him, and he delivered big time for us down the stretch.
Mark, you mentioned the quick turnaround a little bit. Obviously, you guys are on an even playing field in terms of that. But what did you make of that? And do you feel like this team, just with the depth that you have, is particularly equipped to handle that kind of just swing in a playoff series?
Yeah, I don't know what that means big picture, but I just know, when we come off a tough game like that where we extend some minutes, we've got guys we trust. We got guys that have earned trust. They've stepped up in big moments in previous playoff runs. They've stepped up in big moments in the regular season. They have the trust and support of their teammates, and they feel a sense of responsibility to go in there and play the way they did. And I just thought we tried to keep the subs very fresh in the first half, and everybody that touched the floor brought energy to the game. And those guys in particular that I mentioned off the top, those bench guys today were unbelievable. They just brought great juice to the game and made big plays for us.
Shai didn't have a bucket in the second half until that drive with 4:36 to go. Obviously a few big buckets down the stretch. Wasn't able to get a lot of shot attempts. I think only 2 shot attempts until those last 5 minutes in the second half. What was stopping him from getting looks, and then how did things open up for him those last 5 minutes?
Yeah, some of it's execution, some of it's the defense, some of it's shot making, but it's he was pretty sharp today, but Dub goes 2 for 13, Murray goes where was Murray? 5 for 15, Jokic 7 for 22. It's this is the playoffs. It's hard. It's really hard to get great looks. It's really hard because of the physicality, the scheming, the familiarity. It's much easier to score in the All-Star game, obviously, for those 4 guys than it is to score in the playoffs. So I thought our guys on our end showed great resilience of just staying in there for the game. And Shai, obviously, not his best third quarter, but he really delivered down the stretch.
Coach, Jamal finished with 17 points on 15 shots. Just how important was the collective approach? Obviously, Lou draws the brunt of that responsibility, but how important was the collective approach on Jamal?
Yeah, I thought, like I said, it's really, he's a great player. It's really hard in the playoffs, for everybody, and there's nothing convenient about these games, and so it tests your will as a player. He's a great player, but, we tried to keep fresh legs on him and on Jokic, not only today, but in the series. So with Jokic, we've got, Jay Will on him. We got Hart on him. We'll throw Chet on him for a period of time. We've put Smalls on him sparingly, but we're not afraid to do it. And then with Murray, same thing. Dort does a great job on him, obviously, but AC down the stretch, Kaysen in kind of the meat of the second half was unbelievable on him. So those guys are really good, and so we're trying to utilize the strength of our team, to try to slow them down.
Mark, both you and the players expressed a lot of optimism after Game 3, but is there a part of you that is happier to see your group win a game in this fashion than maybe the fashion you did in Game 2, or does that not kind of matter? Just getting it back to 2-2 is the most important thing?
I mean, every game's different, so you have to play the game as it comes and learn from every experience. The one thing I will say is, competition's about throwing punches and competition's about taking punches. And every time you take punches and you get back up, you get stronger, and that's what we're preaching to our team, we lost a tough one the other night in overtime. Stood back up today, especially at the start of the game. I really love the approach to start the game. And then we took punches in the game today and had to stand back up. But every time you do that, you bind together more and you get stronger. And that's a good thing for us. You have to embrace every experience that happens in the playoffs, whether it's positive or a challenge.
Mark, you talked about Lou's defensive impact, but he's been an integral part on both ends for you guys this year. He shot 42% from three during the regular season. For whatever reason, the shots aren't really falling. I think he's under 30% in the playoffs. How do you sort of evaluate playing on the margins with stuff like that whenever, I guess, the margins are so thin in the playoffs of just riding out those stretches? Because he has been a guy who's been somewhat streaky.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely trust the body of work over time more than small sample sizes. So, if the question is whether or not I'm confident in Lou's three-point shooting, I am, because he's shown the ability to not only make a lot of shots over a long period of time, but he's made big shots, in big moments in playoff games. So he's the last guy I'm worried about. But, we also have a deep team, and I thought Kaysen gave us good juice tonight. Caruso was really engaged in the game in the fourth quarter. Decided to go with those guys down the stretch. It wasn't necessarily related to the shooting. It was more related to how the guys that were in the game were playing.
Can you kind of touch on the poise of Kaysen Wallace specifically? Caruso's been here, Wiggins has been around longer, but it's easy to forget that Kaysen's a second-year player.
Yeah, it is, because he doesn't act like it, he doesn't play like it. So, great juice tonight. He was unbelievable on Murray. He made some big, hustle plays. He made, I think, a deflection on Gordon in transition right before we subbed him out. That was a big-time play. And then offensively, played really well, really solid. Shot the right shots, made the right plays for the most part. But he was fresh, too. I didn't play him a ton the other night. And so we knew we would have fresh legs with him and that he was ready to compete in the game, and he delivered.
Mark, you mentioned having to embrace this experience. I think you and Alex the other day were just saying that you guys were excited for the Denver series because you got a chance to push a team like that to their limit. Just in doing so, did you learn anything about this group?
I mean, today wasn't an end point. It's a series to 4, and it's 2-2 right now. So we're not drawing any conclusions, but you have to embrace all the experiences that happen in the playoffs. There's a reason that everybody loves the playoffs. It's because it's really challenging, and you got to be able to rise to different challenges. You have to be able to rise through the discomfort of the playoffs, whether that's individually for a player that's struggling or whether that's collectively for a team. And if you take the right approach to that, it can forge you into a better team and into a great team, as I said the other night after the loss. And I thought we got strong. We're a stronger team right now, internally, not even relative to the series. We're a stronger team right now than we were 4 games ago because of these experiences. And we just have to continue to take that mindset to whatever comes our way.
Mark, I think it's 3 straight games now that you guys have won the rebounding battle after Game 1. Just how do you like the response from the group after the physicality Denver showed in that first game, just kind of on both ends, offensively and defensively?
Yeah, Denver crashed harder tonight, so that was a taller task tonight because I think as they missed shots early, both teams missed shots early, started sending a lot of guys to the glass, and so they were firing in there, and we really had to earn a lot of those rebounds, and we did, and so the guys done a great job on the offensive glass as well, and pretty much limiting their transition despite the offensive rebounding. We got to hit them, but if they're crashing in there, we think we can run them if we get the ball, and that showed up multiple times in the game. So a great effort by the guys, physicality.
Anyone else?